against prayer. Because I'm against begging. I'm against prayer because there is nobody in the sky to answer your prayer. You are simply wasting your time. Not only that, you are living in a deception. There is no need to pray. You have it already within you. Just close your eyes and look within. Go deeper as you can go. And at the very innermost core, you are for a great surprise. That the one you were looking for is not above the clouds. It is just within you. It is you. And that moment is the moment of total freedom, total independence.
Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great medicine and rule well. Salutation to the Yaki and preaching the truth to the four corners of the earth, sincerity. This is your brother Yakal coming to another lesson. Lord willing, be edifying through the Spirit. And this is a bunch of bullshit. I am against prayer. You understand? Because you see, this is the God who's within you mindset. No. We understand that the Lord is within us. Yes. As long as, we are your Kodash and we doing the things that pleases Him. But understanding that there's nobody to pray to above the clouds, that it is within you. You could go how deep. He said, close your eye and go how deep to the core, and you will get a surprise. Why you don't tell them what the surprise is? You understand? And even though you tell them what the surprise is, it's some bullshit. A bunch of BS, nothing edifying, nothing really life changing to teach them. So it's we say wasting it. What the waste of time is listening to this video. But I say how do I listen on it still, because we never really truly become independent. And a lot of brothers and sisters could attest that when they pray, it is work. You understand? Prayer does work. Because you see, we be praying for specific things. And the Lord helps that specific thing that you be praying for. Might mean your timing. Everything is in the Lord's timing. Right? So, I'm going to get something here first. Alright, I'm going to get the meaning of the word independent already queued up. It says independent. It says, because what he said is that you become free. You become independent. So this is that we get the meaning of independent. And I'll also get it in the etymology online, which is the study of words, right? This is the word independent. It says independent means not control. They already start bad. Because the spirits are controlled. The Father spirits. The Lord is in control of every being on the earth. You understand? If He doesn't want dogs to bark and He wanted them to chirp, they would have chirp. If He didn't want the trees to bear something, He wouldn't bear it. Right? This is the Lord, the all-powerful power. You understand? Yahweh. He does this. Right? And I'm going to read it out and I'll go into some precepts, right? It says, not controlled, influenced, or supported by others. It signifies being free, self-reliant, or separate. It describes a person who thinks for themselves, a country which its own government, or a person who is financially self-sufficient. Common synonyms include autonomous, self-governing, sovereign, and self-reliant, which is bullshit. Nobody is self-reliant. The Lord is the one who gives us our daily bread. Now, taken away from that is like saying we doing this on our own when we don't even know how we were formed, where we were once babies. We were once babies, right? Where we could not do nothing and we were dependent on our mother and our father, and then after we come out into the world now, right? We are dependent on what? The Lord. Because we always been dependent on the Lord. But the thing about it is the Lord predestinates. A lot of people does not believe in predestination. They don't believe in reincarnation. They don't believe in the Lord at all. So when you come to tell them now, this is the truth and this is the reality, they don't understand it. And they're having a hard time even believing it. Precept just came to mind. I get that one time. Let's see. It's 1 Corinthians 14 and 132. Get right here. There's 1 Corinthians 14 and 32. It says, and the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Now, what does that mean? What that says there is that the spirits of the prophets, the ones I'm not preaching, are subject to them. They have no other thing that they could have come back here doing. That's why I also said reincarnation. Because when you die, your spirit goes back to the Lord. And then when it comes back here, it comes back to do what? The same thing it was doing in the first place. Just like the spirits of the doom are subject to the doom. The ones that are going to die, they were already predestinated for that to happen. Right? That's how we know predestination in scripture. But what we're going to do is go through and dissect the video piece by piece.
I'm against prayer. Because I'm against begging.
Now, begging is a form, bowing is a form of begging. It's also a form of respect and a form of subjection. Now, why shouldn't we bow and subject ourselves unto the Lord? You see these nations, like the Edomites and the Elamites and the Moabites, Chinese, or modern day names Chinese, the so-called white man, and these are Arabs. They are prideful as fuck. Now most Arabian countries, they bow in prayer because they understand that a form of subjecting yourself is willingness word for it, prostrate, because you're given honor and glory unto your power. That's why we bow and pray now. You understand? Because it's a form of respect. The Lord don't need you. You need the Lord. You understand? How you can be against begging? You're not begging for money. You're begging the Lord to keep the spirit on you. You understand? Matter of fact, let's go into the meaning of the word beg. That's a rough meaning. Beg. To ask for money, food, or help in a desperate, humble, or urgent manner, often repeated or emotional. Now, why wouldn't you beg the Lord give us this day our daily bread, right? Just begging, you're asking for money, which is a daily bread, food, help in a desperate or humble or urgent manner, because sometimes it's urgent, sometimes you need to be, sometimes it's so, you know that is a situation out of your control, as most situations are, because nobody would willingly put themselves in a situation that they can't control. So who you asking for that help? You understand? You're back against the wall, and they're coming for you, just like Daniel and the lions. Then just like when they put them in the fire, how they were coming out of that? When the king mind already was set, the Lord You had to pray to the Lord to take you out of them situations. No way you're coming out of them situations on your own. Right? It says, or urgent manner often repeated or emotional. Right? Let's see. Right, and that was it. I'll continue the video.
I'm against prayer because there is nobody in the sky to answer your.
And this is something that we have been going through for years now, with people saying there's nobody in the sky. No, you would say this now, but can you explain them chariots? Can you explain what them beings in the sky is? You say stars from million light years away that we see with our plain eyes. Look up for your redemption joy now. What is the Bible talking about? They're talking about the chariots of the Lord. You understand? There's nobody in the sky to answer your prayer. That's not how it works, buddy. The Lord is a spiritual entity. He could hear your prayer anyways. He even tell us that go into a corner go into basically in your hiding place and pray. Right? Go into a closet and pray that nobody could hear your prayer. The Lord could hear you. You understand? And the Lord is in heaven. Right? There's different meanings of the word heaven. Right? Which one of the meanings is rulership. You know, in this place, Esau, the so-called white man, and his cohorts, they are ruling this place. They govern in this place. This is not our heaven. Right? And then there's the sky, the firmament, also known as heaven, the folds of heaven, as the scriptures say. Because they're then talking about the folds of rulership, or the folds of the where the Lord sit, and then heaven is where the Lord sit, where the Lord throne is. Right? So this is easy where nobody needs sky to answer your prayer. Wrong again.
Prayer. You are simply wasting your time. Not only that, you are living in a deception.
It's true that we live in a deception, but this is another deception. This is another one of the deceptions, and with all these deceptions, how are people bugging the hell out? Because he sit down one day and probably had a smoke and a weed, or some drug, like, because he looking like he jug the fuck out or bugged out with spirits, right? And came up with this this is theology, this is man-made. I have a precept for that before I continue. Right. Precept, Colossians 2 and 8. And it reads, beware. Right? You see? I go straight to the point. Beware lest any man spoil you. When something is spoiled, that means it's rotten, it's not good anymore, right? So the Lord is saying to beware lest a man do that to you, right? But how are they going to do that? It says through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahushai. So they're fooling you by making up philosophies and telling people this, telling them that, and have them believing in it. Now when people believe, a good amount of people believe in this shit, that's where you're gonna spread them with modern day technology. You'll see some clown make a video on this talking about, yeah, this guy is speaking some levels. Because he and all smoke a weed and tell himself, yeah, he gonna teach this and spread this, which is the rudiments of men. You understand? Of the world. The world pushing an anti-Yahushai vibration. Right? Because they really and truly, they don't have the truth. So without having the truth and having the light, you tend to say anything that comes to your mind. And believe it too. Right? And then this misleading a lot of people. Because I sure if I go into the comments, a lot of people believe in this shit. And some people might not. But that's just how it go. Right? There's so much of philosophies that turn you off. When prayer is mostly important. Prayer is most important. Yeah, I wish I said it. Get our precept. Now, this book of Matthew chapter 17 and... Oh, I'm trying to remember. Let me see. Right, I read from 19. Just to get some essence, right? And it says, Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart, said, Why could not we cast him out? Casting out that demon, right? Why we couldn't do it? Because at the same time, the power that they have to do these things was not from them, but from the Lord. Right? It says, And Yahushua said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Right? Verse 21. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. You understand? This is what Yahushua insisted in him. Prayer and fasting. So now, without the prayer and fasting, what you can't cast out demons. You can't do certain things. You understand? That's why it's important for us to tap into that and not tap out into the rudiments of men and believe in some of these clowns. Right? Come on, go back into this and just go into the comments.
There is no need to pray.
Bullshit, right? Go into the comments. A man said, here this clown said, I was praying the other day and I realized that it was just me talking to myself. That is what he realized. Because he doesn't have the spirit on him. Look at him, he looking fully shaved, head bald, no beard. How the hell you be talking to yourself? It says, well said. Another man said, well said, we should manifest God is within us, but did you create your spirit? How do we go about creating spirits that we could call ourselves God? How do we go about making the sun rise? You feel these things are on automatic. That is what people believe. You understand? We have Moab trying to make a sun. Right? So they believe in that they're God right now on earth. It says, if God already has a plan for you, what are you praying for? You're praying to be safe. You're praying to be on the Lord's good side. You understand? You're praying because you do not know the plan. You're praying because of humility. That is why you're praying. Because even though God has a plan and is predestinated, when you end up in it, who you gonna call upon? You're gonna try to work it out for yourself, or you're gonna call upon the Lord? Because at the same time too, we stray from the Lord power. Right? And the Lord said all these things He's sending on earth is for scourges, for amendment, meaning that all the things that we went through was for us to come back to Him. Even in every little situation, the Lord is asking you to turn to Him. Who are you gonna turn to? Right? Like a child. That's why it's so important that when you say if you become back as a child easy to take correction. You know? For instance, when you beat a child, right? For instance, my daughter. When I deal with my daughter, right? She runs to who? To me. She runs to me after she get her licks and comes and say, Daddy, I am sorry, and hugs me up, however the case may be. Now that is warm me up, right? So when it is, we end up in situation as grown people, we tend to have pride and turn to what? Some of them turn to drugs, some of them turn to all sorts of different things. What we really supposed to turn to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. as we end up in a situation that out of our control. Right? We continue here. Right, so some people in the comments saying that they pray and ask God to forgive, to change their heart, and today he's 35 years old and sober, and God does listen to our prayers. And here is clung, that was not the prayers, it was you, all you. A lot of atheists out here, but you see, we don't really care about the atheism. Going back to the scriptures. Alright, going back to the book of Romans. Romans 3:3. And it says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? Because they don't believe that the prayer is working for us. Should we stop praying? Should we, if them don't believe any prophecies and everything that the Lord is saying in the Bible, right? Should we stop prophesying? Should we start to believe as them? Hell no. The Lord say He coming for the unbelievers, the unrighteous, the sinners, the murderers. Them He coming to judge. Right? So I reach. Verse 4, it says, God forbid. It says, yea, let God be true and every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. That is it. So with all this unbelief going around, it's not good for people who weak, because the Lord strengthen us. So going back to Matthew 25, we have to fill our lamp with oil. You know, we have to believe in that. We must believe in that. Fill it up with oil. You know, starve with doubts to death. Get rid of the doubts. Only believe in, yes, I will make it. Yes, the Lord will make. And it's not us who doing it. You understand? As I see, people direct the prayer to specific things. And the Lord gives them it. Sometimes they're going through it for years. And yeah, and a dumb non-believer would say that it was all you. You did it on your own. But it's the Lord who pulled me through, because I couldn't see. Sometimes I can't see a way. And all miraculously, someone who you ain't speak to in years come up with the solution that you needed all along, right after you pray. So how we explaining that? You will say, well, it was just a coincidence. The Lord don't deal with coincidences, He deals with predestination. You understand? Continue a little more.
You have it already within you.
You don't have shit already. What you need is to trust and believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and keep that within you. That is what you need to keep within you, so that in your journey on darker days, when the days get more dark, you have something to hold on to, which we back into the word endurance. You have something to hold on to, because you already have it within you now. Scripture says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and you hold on to that. So when the darker days now, you remember to pray. You feel we're not going to be praying, we're going to need to be praying in those days, calling upon the Lord even more, trusting in Him even more, because the devious days are at hand.
Just close your eyes and look within. Go deeper as you can go. And at the very innermost core, you are for a great surprise. That the one you were looking for is not above the clouds. It is just within you.
That's bullshit, because we cannot save ourselves. So I'm going to get a precept to back up that. This book of Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8, and it reads, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord. Why waiting upon the Lord? Let me continue reading. Until the day that I rise up to the prey. The prey is who? Esau, Edom. Right? Who who has always been the one that doing the hunting, the predator, has become the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Right? And that's the thing. You wait until the Lord come to believe him. Right? And this is something that a lot of them going to face. As we keep bringing up the word derision. They didn't believe. They had us in derision. They was mocking and laughing and listening to the men like this bullshit speaker. I don't know what his name is, but listening to these men and going off. Getting deceived and going off. You understand? What the Lord say? Wait ye upon me until he rise up against the prey. You understand? So I believe in it's Daniel 12 chapter. Daniel 12. I think it's Daniel 12. Let me see if I got the precept. I'm read Matthew 24, 21, I believe. Right. Let's see what I can read from. I read from 14. Because a lot of people getting carried away with the word of the Lord and they feel everything is rainbows and peaches, right? Sitting on the chair preaching a lot of bullshit until the shit hit the fan and they can't do anything about it. It's Matthew 24 and 14. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So they're going to hear this word and then the end going to come, right? And everyone going to hear it. It says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. Alright, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, which we're not going to flee this time. You're going to have to stay wherever the Lord put you. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes, and woe unto them that are with child, to them that give suck in those days. Why? Because there's going to be some terrible times, right? And this is the thing I'm saying, don't pray for. Don't pray when all these things happening, okay? Verse 20, it says, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, this is the point, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no nor ever shall be. Right? Meaning that you never ever see this kind of terrible times what we're gonna head into. It never was seen on the earth, it's never gonna be seen again. And then after it continued to say, and except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. The Lord shortening the days for the elect. Because if the Lord is going to save the elect. So you're trying to tell me, right? We headed into the most terrible times that the earth never seen before, and we should not pray when the Lord is telling us to pray. And then it also says it in Daniel 12 and 1, when it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, which is who? The Archangel Michael, right? The great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. You understand? Because Lord had to send Michael the Archangel to defend us. knowing how serious it was, knowing how serious it's going to be, I should say. Right? That is two different precepts telling that the earth never seen a level of trouble before. And this clown is telling you to do pray, and he does not believe in prayer, and it's just within you. A lot of people are going to be praying to themselves and praying to their idols in that time. And they get to know, and they'll be getting no answers. Just like in the C19 era, where these Elamites, right, were praying to their statues. And they wasn't getting no answers why the C19 was spreading, right? And they wasn't getting no answers, and they started casting their idols into the river because they wasn't getting no answers, right? But the thing about it is that these gods are fake. So how you would get answers?
It is just within you. It is you. And that moment is the moment of total freedom.
And that moment is when you get trapped or enslaved by another doctrine to believe that God is within you. Unless you're a part of the elect or a part of the Lord's household or have the Ruach HaKodesh, you can't believe that. You understand? It's false. Pray to yourself, no way.
Total independence.
And we went into the meaning of the word independence, and we saw that it does not make sense. Not having to rely on anyone. You can't even be independent if you had to think about it carnally. If you had to go to another country, you fly to that country without clearance or having a passport or having you need stuff. You're always dependent or reliant on something or someone, right? We never really free, but when Yahawashi come, then we'll be free. But Lord willing us, let's not edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi, Bashim Kakodash. Said that we to the elders and apostles of great notion and rule well. Salutation to the Aki and preaching the truth to the four corners of the sincerity. Shalom.